Right, g'day. Well, I'm back on the trailer again, and yeah, I should really be, filling the other side so I can get the braces out and get the roof on and whatever. But yeah, I'm still going for a visual. I'm still trying to picture how it's going to look. And it really is sort of sitting too high on the trailer, but there isn't really anything I can do about that. I've got the springs below the axle. I could put lower on blocks, I suppose, but yeah. However, it already sits level. The trailer sits level when it's hooked to the Volkswagen. I made the tow bar to suit this trailer because I made the trailer first, not the actual frame. So yeah, it's probably just going to have to stay that way. But yeah, it would look better if it was a bit lower, like, quite a bit lower, 6 inches even. Anyway, yeah, I've been mucking around with this guard. It's, way more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I was sort of hoping that the front half, or the rear half of the front mudguard that comes off the other side, the left-hand front, which is what I chopped, I was really hoping that the rear half of that was just going to meet straight up with the rear half of the rear guard. I was hoping that I was just going to be able to chop it through here and just butt the two up, but no, it's just nowhere near wide enough. The rear half of the front guard isn't anywhere near wide enough, and like, you can't use the front because you got that headlight and everything. Yeah, and then so what I've had to do is I've cut. Well, I cut initially. I've just bypassed the headlight bulge, and then I went up to, it came out to about here somewhere, and I went to where it, like just on the edge of where the curve is. See, like it sort of comes sort of fairly uniform, and then it curves a bit sharper. Especially on the front one, it seems to curve a bit more than the back one actually. Like a bit sharper at one point. But anyway, I'll cut it just short of that. It's on the rear half of the front guard. And then the rear guard, I just cut the flange off it all the way along. The issue you get is that the inner piece of the front mudguard, it just comes in way too short. It just steps in just to get round the headlight, comes back to near nothing, and then you got this big gap. So yeah, I used the excess piece that I cut off the back here, like the flange bit, to fill in here. So like I've still got the flanges underneath. You can see them, probably can't see them. The wheels on the way. But yeah, I've got the flanges on there. Initially too, I tacked it on the underside, but what I found is that it was just sagging too much. It was just pulling away, especially when you tried to bend it that little bit. It'd just bend the flange. So I ended up, tacking it on the top. I've sort of got it to where I want it. It's not really wide enough. That's the issue I got now. It's still, if the tyre were to come right up, which it probably won't because there won't be any weight on it anyway, but it'd still rub the tyre. It's not really getting any clearance. I could always, I could probably get a lump of wood under there and just jack it up. I'd want to put a few more tacks, I think, if I was going to do that. Stop the flange bending. But yeah, the other option too. So there's another option here. See, I've got plenty of clearance between the wheel and the spring. And I could always chop. There's nearly 2 inches there. I could chop 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches the other side. I could chop 3 inches out of the centre of the axle. Bring the wheel in, and it'd make plenty good. There'd be plenty of clearance. I wouldn't have any issues with trying to make the gar wider. However, this axle's off a trail that was bought new in '64 by my dad. And yeah, that's a solid bar, it's not a tube. So yeah, it'd be a fair bit of welding. You'd have to point the two of them together, and then trying to keep them straight by clamping to other bars or something. And yeah, be a bit of a job welding it up. The other thing, probably actually the better idea would be to get some square tube that fits over it. Would be to cut, because it's pretty heavy too, like for an axle, and it's also a little bit bent. Yeah, so probably the better idea would be to get some heavy tube, square tube, like trailer tube, I suppose, and cut, like leave 6 inches inside the wheel either side, and then put tube over the top of it, circumference weld it, plug weld it. But yeah, it'd want to be pretty heavy wall tube, like for an axle. It'd want to be like 1/4 inch or something. What's that metric? That'd be 4 or 5 mil thick. So anyway, that's the other option. It's probably easier to try and just flare the guard a bit, but yeah, if that doesn't work, well, I have that option. But if I was going to chop the axle, chopping the axle is probably a better idea, actually. Given that we're going through the bush, it's less likely to catch on things, although it's still going to catch the guard. Yeah, it wouldn't really change anything in that respect. But yeah, if I was going to do that, I'd wait till I actually get the trailer registered. I'm not going to register it with the shell on it. The shell will come off. I'm just going to register it as a frame. That's how I registered my other trailer, the one that's got the Hilux body on it. And see, it's bolt on, so the shell for this and the shell for the Hilux trailer, they're both, the shells are part of the load, they're not part of the trailer, see, because they're not fixed to it. So yeah, like if I was to weld all that shell onto the trailer, especially with the Hilux one, I'd probably have to get it engineered, and they probably wouldn't like it. It's a bit flimsy in a few places, but I mean, it doesn't fall apart. I've been using it 3 years now. But yeah, trailer regos have got a whole lot more difficult than Tassie. They used to be real simple. But yeah, I missed out on that bit. I got the other one done. The only issue was that is I had to take it into the government mob because they couldn't read the numbers that were already on it. So the frame had already been previously registered in another state, had numbers on it. So yeah, I had to go in and get the numbers checked and all that sort of thing. But yeah, it would have actually been easier if it had no numbers at all. But yeah, that's all changed now, so I've got to apply for numbers. This is the whole reason why I haven't cut these other lights off yet. Well, the other lights, I'm going to cut the whole back bar off and just make that whole piece just bolt back on. Like I'll cut that whole bar off, just put a bit of angle across it. And when I'm not using this shell, like I'm going to make like a box tray so I can carry dirt and gravel and shit like that. So when I'm using that and not using the Volkswagen shell, I'll be able to bolt these lights, just bolt them back on. But yeah, so that's, even though they look stupid at the moment, they don't go with the shell at all. It's sort of mucking up the visual of it. But yeah, I don't want to cut them off just yet. not till I get it registered. So. Yeah, anyway, I've been mucking around. I don't know if you can, I've cut a lot of the tacks off. You can see some tacks. Yeah, I've had this tacked on, I've cut it off and changed it and cut it off and changed it. I've done that at least a half a dozen times, trying to get it to somewhere where the two panels will work with each other, you know, where it sort of sits fairly evenly, and yeah, where there isn't any gaps between, you know, like to get it out wider, it works all right up here, but when you get down here, there was this big gap because where I'd cut this isn't wide enough to meet that. And you know, so you can see where I've cut it, it's only just meeting at the front. So I'm going to have to cut that off again now because this won't push down. So I'm going to have to, I'll get this welded. I've started, yeah, doing like cutting it in place, started tacking it. So I'll make my way from the centre out. I've learnt that, you know, from my own things and from watching other YouTubers that, yeah, you don't start at one end and work your way across because it'll all change. You start, especially with a curve panel like this, start in the middle and work out. See, by the time I get down to here, yeah, like this will be way different. I mean, I already have to cut that to make this meet, but that'll get worse as I come down. So, yeah. Same at the back here. Oh, that'll meet. I've cut that, but since I cut it, this has popped up. So I might be able to manipulate that down. I might not. I might have to actually put a couple of relief cuts in that too to get it to pull back down. But anyway, as I said, I've finally sort of got it in a position, got it into a shape that I'm reasonably happy with. And yeah, I didn't show you previously what I had to do there, so I put this piece on, got that to, line up straight with here, and this piece was just way too low, like it was like an inch too low, and I'm trying to push it, and I'm trying to jack it out, I'm trying to hammer it out, and it just would not come out. So the only way I could get it to come out was to put cuts in it, pull each piece up separately, and of course then those cuts opened up. Yeah. It wasn't a drama. This panel's reasonable thickness, it wasn't rusty there or anything, so it's just a slow process, just tacking onto the previous tack and just pulling it down a little bit. I mean, I tacked a few places, but then run from one tack down to the other tack, might tack, come back 10 minutes later, tack, so on. But yeah, that sort of eventually worked. I think I'll be doing the other side differently. I'm still going to use this panel. This is the other issue I had, and I pulled this in so much that it kinked up on this bend up here. So I've also had to put cuts in that just to get the bend back to where it should be. And I haven't welded that yet because I've got to put this strip along here yet, so I may have to manipulate it a bit more, so there's no point welding that just yet. Excuse. Down here's pretty messy. Worked fine all the way along there, no problems, no buckles, no anything. When I got to here, so I was getting impatient with it too. But yeah, because I had such a hassle with this, because like that's the seam and it was rusted, and when you cut the seam off, you're left with a gap, like it doesn't meet once you cut the bend off. Yeah, and on top of that, with it being rusty and having been ground down, and that was a nightmare. It just kept blowing out, even with it turned way down, lower than I've ever had it welding, and there's still blowing holes in it. And Yeah, because I'm trying to fill holes, that's buckled severely. I've actually had to put another cut down in there behind the guard just to take the pop out of it, you know, and it popped out so much. And then I got another issue here because I'm trying to do this at the same time as that. I should have finished that and then done this bit, not tried to do them at the same time. Because even though I was only, you know, doing attack, yeah, tack, they were too close to each other. So I ended up with a heat warpage in here as well. But it's hammered out alright, but yeah, it's a bit sort of dented up. There's going to be a fair bit of massage in there with hammer and dolly to smooth it out again. But yeah, I mean, the buckle did come out of it, but yeah, would have been a whole lot better to just do this first and then wait till all that's completely done and then do the other, then do the patch. Like that's where the petrol filler was. So yeah, bonnet's crooked at the moment. I just put it up there so I can get a better visual. And yeah, if I can do this one-handed, probably going to fall off actually. I can do this one-handed. I'll put it back in place. You can see just how much I pulled it pulled in when I put the straps on it. When I pulled these two A-pillars in, you can see just how much wider it is now than it used to be. Get these lined up somewhere in the centre. If I'd have planned to video this, I could and should have put it on before I picked up the camera. It's not really. I got it somewhere near it. I think yeah, it's pretty much centered now. Yeah, look at that. That's how far I've pulled each side in. So yeah, there's now going to be a big chop in the bonnet. And as to, it looks like it, well, I haven't got it properly. I'll line it up properly and tack it on up there and tack it on down here and get it all in the exact right place. But it looks like it starts pulling in from just here. So that's going to mean, because you don't want to weld right in this crease here. Although, if I welded it from the other side, it'd be easy enough to grind off. Depends on the penetration. It's difficult to grind in here and leave it nice without, taking away too much of this or whatever. But anyway, whether I do right inside it and weld it from the underside or do it on top. If I'm going to do it weld it on top, I could come out ½ inch or so. But yeah, what we're going to have to do now is cut it from where it starts to bend, or probably just ahead of where it starts to bend, all the way up. And when I get to here, I can't keep going with that chop, because then this line isn't going to meet up with that when you pull it in 3 inches. But yeah, this line's going to be up here somewhere. It's not going to meet. So when I get to about here, I'm going to have to go across. So the cut will be something like that, and then through. Yeah, see, that curves back up again. It's going to be interesting. Maybe not that far, maybe about here somewhere. Anyway, decide that. But yeah, so that's chop. Yeah. right down there, I'd probably have to, oh, no, maybe not initially, but anyway, yeah, do this chop, and then pull it in, overlap it, take it in place, both sides, get to a position, and then do a cut and butt down along there as well. So, yeah, still got plenty of work ahead of me. But, anyway, it is sort of getting there. It's, I mean, part of it's the novelty of having a trailer made out of a Volkswagen, and I probably will, depending on how well it comes up, yeah, I probably will tow it to bug shows or something occasionally, but yeah, the main purpose is that when I go camping with the boys, we can take all our tents and chairs and fireplace equipment and whatnot, Yeah, because we've been just packing everything in the Volkswagen, and we can't even get enough things in there that we really need, and yeah, we pack as much in and then just leave enough space for the three of us to get in. And of course, I got bogged in the sand last time we went camping because the weight of all the gear had made the car, 3 or 4 inches low, which was enough for it to dig into the sand and get bogged. So, especially in the front, you get in the sand, you don't want any weight in your front. That's why Volkswagens don't generally have issues in the sand, because there's no weight in the front, and the front wheels just glide across it, and the back wheels get the traction. So, yeah, as well as being able to take more things and be able to get seated properly, it's also an issue of not getting bogged or not weighing the car down to where we have less ground clearance. We already don't have as much ground clearance as I would like, but don't think there's a whole lot I can do about that. Not without changing the wheel size, and I don't really want to do that, because then you've got to beef up the motor to cope with the gearing, and then they don't fit under the guards, and you got to start chopping and modifying guards, and there's a whole lot of issues with putting big wheels in it. Not only that, I like the wheels that are on it. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's what we're up to, and so hope that's interesting to somebody. Hit like, please. Bye.